mission of CBRF is to activate subordinate to a joint task force in support of either the National Capital Region or civil support. What that means is if there is something that happens, like a weapon of mass destruction in the National Capital Region, we're able to respond and support our Army and Air Force counterparts. Or if there's some type of natural disaster that occurs within the United States or OCONUS, we are able to activate under that joint task force and respond as well.
There's certain types of situations, they can be either man-made or natural. We responded in the past to the nuclear power plant incident in Fukushima, all the way to a tornado disaster in our local area. CBRF has 2 incident response forces. One is always on the active. The incident response force that is on the active has 24 hours to respond in the DC area and bring a reconnaissance, decontamination, and rescue operations on.
I'm bringing my rescue team out here, and we're conducting joint operations downrange with our Army counterparts in a joint environment, which is a little bit different from what we normally do things. A lot of the times at CBRF we do things in a bubble, but being able to come out to Fort Hood, Texas, and work at Mountown in Fort Hood allows us the flexibility to see things from a different scope. What that allows us to do is break off from our normal mission set and equipment sets and work with our interagency counterparts to better hone our skills so that when we are called for that big bang and that big moment in time when things go bad, that we're able to work together and do it from experience.
We are here learning how to operate within that joint task force and integrating into their units. So it's a lot of meeting our counterparts in the Army. It's a lot of figuring out how we would support that joint task force. I think a lot of people think CBRF is the main mission, and sometimes that's not the case. We are a standalone unit and we can operate that way, but I think in a joint environment, it's far more effective if we operate like we are today, where our recon element is with the Army's R&S section, where our decon element is with Army's mass casualty decon, and our rescue platoon is operating side by side with their USAR platoon.
It's easy to go downrange and always tackle the problem sets with your own equipment, your own SOPs and training goals. But when you come down and you work with other agencies, organizations, you're forced to kind of mold yourself to their way of doing things and their equipment sets, and it helps you work out of the box and do things a little bit differently.
Operationally, we are prepared. You can take any one of my PFCs or Lance Corporals and tell them to execute a mission, they're going to do it. I think there's an aspect that's difficult to train for, and that's actually responding to an emergency. We can do it in training, we can convoy, we can enter buildings with no contamination, but if we are actually called to respond, I think there's something that it's difficult to train for. What is it like to go into a 10-kiloton nuke? How do I tell my family that I'm gonna do that? We do tactical decision games, we do battle drills, we do readiness constantly with the Marines to make sure that they're ready to actually activate. I think mission execution-wise, we're solid. And it's a continuing process of making sure they are literally ready to deploy at a moment's notice.